center field. Going back is Gonzalez. It is gone! Two-run home run by Schwarber. Stays put, and there's a high fly ball. Deep right field. Harper watches it fly.
And we are back for another episode of the Double Switch Podcast. NLDS champs for the first time since 2011. 2011 was a long time ago, and feels good. Feels really good. You know, there was a lot of ups and downs. There's a long stretch there in August where people were legitimately worried about this team, but time and time again, they showed a tendency to work past their problems. And sitting here today, I believe they have 93 wins. It's looking like they're going to end up with 95 or 96 wins. And ultimately, I mean, this season went really well. If you would have told me that we ended with 96 wins, won the NL East, I wouldn't have really cared about the context of everything that's happened in between, because that's a good season. And ultimately, I'm pretty proud of our guys for battling some adversity and taking advantage of an NL East that was not at its peak powers. A lot of the division didn't show up, but we did. And now we are the NL East champs. And it's looking like we're going to have the 2 seed, maybe the 1 seed for the playoffs. I guess we'll
both
know
are
that
still very much in the cards.
Yeah, we'll know more about that in a couple of days. But yeah, it's been a good week. How are you doing, Johnny?
I'm great, man. I mean, it feels good to be king of the hill, the winner of the NL East for the first time in how old were we? Like, were we in 8th grade?
Well, I was 12, I guess.
We were 12 years old.
That's
actually crazy. It feels good. I mean, we've been the little guy that snuck in the past 2 years, but to be the NL East champs feels great. This team's great. They stayed healthy throughout the year for the most part compared to some of these other teams with some really bad injuries. We don't control what other teams do and what they do, but our team, fantastic.
It feels very good, but it also feels pretty weird because I'm not used to being the team in our division. You know, we've always had the team to kind of look up to and target, but now we're the target. We are that team. This is a team that people are really getting used to being in October. It's no underdog story anymore when you start winning the division and you end up possibly with the 1 seed in the NL. It's going to take a different mindset this year from this team, and it's going to take a different mindset from the players and the fans because it's different.
I'm going to push back on that a little bit, actually.
Okay.
I don't know. I was thinking about this today. Like, does it really feel like last year, like we were an underdog after going to the World Series?
Underdog, no, but it didn't feel like we were the
target
team
on our back because the Philadelphia Phillies. Philadelphia always has a target on its back.
Yeah, that's true, but we didn't feel like we were the team to beat last year. At least I didn't when you kind of stacked us up against the 102-win Braves. We were by no means an underdog last year, but we weren't the class of the National League. But where I was going with that is it's going to be interesting to see the team have a bye for the first time. We have seen teams struggle with that. It's been very vocalized by the Atlanta Braves fans that they did not like the bye, and we've never had the bye, so it's interesting. You know, can the team keep the intensity? Whereas in past years, the wild card series provided plenty of momentum for us to kind of keep rolling into October. Ultimately, though, I don't think it's a huge deal. You know, this is a veteran group, and time again, they just prove to have the ability to put themselves in the right mindset to work through and accomplish whatever they want to do. Whether it's an underdog, whether they are the favorites, kind of just trust the guys at this point, you know?
Yeah. No, I think we've seen everything to have full trust in this team. I'm curious too. I mean, I hope we don't have that whole Braves effect because we won't hear the end of it. Braves will be like, we told you so. I don't think with this team. I think we've had a couple guys that have been a little bit banged up towards the end of this year. I think that extra time isn't going to hurt anyone.
Yeah. I guess it's a good time to kind of start talking matchups here because There's a lot that could happen
So
between
much.
now and Tuesday. The Dodgers are definitely in. The Brewers are definitely in. So you have the 1, 2, and 3 seeds. 1 and 2 are still obviously up for grabs. But after that, you have the Padres in the 4 seed, and it gets a little blurry. The Mets are still very much in it. I believe they're holding on to the 6th seed. The Braves are right behind them. I want to say a game back from them, and they
One game,
have
yep.
they have a doubleheader on Monday if need be. And the D-backs are they're a game
They're
ahead of them,
tied.
so it's a little
Nope,
different.
they're tied with
No,
the Mets.
they played one more game though,
I don't know.
because those games just got canceled yesterday and today.
Maybe as of last
Yeah,
night.
that's what I was gonna say. That makes it a little more interesting.
Yeah.
But what's probably gonna ultimately end up happening is we're gonna have to face either the Brewers or one of those 3 teams. That's kind of how it's looking right now. So let me kind of get your input on who do you want to face. I guess we could even face the Padres. Anything's up for
It is,
grabs at this point.
because if we
But
switch
how
the
do
number
you
one
want
seed,
this? How do you want this to play out? Like, what would be ideal for the Phillies coming into October? What matchups do you think favor us? Which matchups do you want to avoid? Yeah, if you could set it up however you wanted.
yeah, I think for me, it's there's 2 teams that I would prefer not to play, and that's going to be the Padres and the Brewers. The teams I prefer to play, number 1 would be the D-backs. I don't have that whole fear from last year. I think it's silly to be afraid to get redemption. And then the Mets would be the number 2 team I'd like to play. I think we match up really well against both teams. I don't think either team's pitching has been all that good this year, and their bullpens are lacking. When you look at the Padres and the Brewers, those are teams where the bullpens are stacked, and they're kind of made for these series.
Yeah, the Brewers are interesting because I know at one point we couldn't even name any of their starting staff. They don't have
They
the
just
staff.
pitch.
They don't have the staff designed for a short series, but they do have a very, very, very deep bullpen. And sometimes you can kind of make up for the lack of staff with a very good bullpen. And the Padres, they're interesting because they're probably good enough to be like a division winner. Like
They
they're kind
are.
of like us last year, where that's a very talented, deep team, superstars, good pitching staff at this point between Darvish, Musgrove, and Michael King as your top 3.
Cease.
So, oh my goodness, Dylan Cease. Yeah, I mean,
They're loaded.
we're not even going to face Musgrove at this point, and
Probably not.
he's a viable starting pitcher. That's a team, and AJ Preller knew going into this season and the trade deadline what a playoff team looks like, because he has some experience with this. He designed that team for a playoff series, and for us, for the Phillies, for the Dodgers, that team can beat anybody in October. And I do not want to face them. I do not want to face them at all. But fortunately, I'm trying to figure out how we would actually face them.
We would have to become the number 1 seed.
We would have to become the 1 seed, and they would have to beat the Brewers, right?
Yep.
That's a lot of stuff has to happen there. Okay.
But there's crazier things.
Yeah. That's on the table. Brewers, I'd rather face them than the Padres if it came to it. They're a good team, but I feel like they're just like the Guardians, where every year they go in and they win a ton of games with not a lot of big names, and I'm just not super scared of them come October. And then you get down into the Braves, the D-backs, and the Mets. All kind of similar teams in some way. I think the Braves are kind of the scariest of the group at this point, because they still have Chris Sale and Max Fried, which is a terrific 1-2. And they still have some bats who can win you some games. I know Matt Olson's come around. The Mets are, at this point, a team I feel comfortable facing. I could easily, any of these teams, I could see it going wrong, but I feel good against the Mets. And the D-backs, yeah, like you said, that was not normal what happened last year.
Yes.
We were clearly the better team, and they captured a bit of magic that tends to happen in October, but I don't bet on it happening twice. Any of these teams can get hot and win any game, but we have some experience with the D-backs, and I wouldn't be super scared going into a series with them, especially after what the guys went through last year with that team specifically and the guys in the bullpen. There's a lot of similar names. So I think the book would kind of be better on that team going into this postseason. But yeah, you really can't dive into too many specifics because there's a really good weekend of baseball ahead.
Yeah, I'm sure you guys all saw the whole Mets Braves debacle, which is an absolute mess right now. But it's kind of turning out to be one of the best baseball days for fans. I mean, we get to watch a doubleheader, which they could very easily be one game apart. For maybe even the D-backs too. One of the Braves have a chance to jump up to the number 5 seat, which is just absolutely crazy.
That's what it's all about. I miss games 162. This is fun. I wish it was like this more often, but usually it works itself out before. But yeah, that's the context for the league. And it's...
Wait, I got to follow up real quick on that. Who do you want to see get in, Mets or Braves?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question.
Or both.
I don't want to see both because that's just more NLEs to deal with. Dude, I don't know. I don't even.
You got to pick one. Got to pick one.
Dude, I can't.
Come on. The people are waiting. People have stuff to do after this.
This might be the hardest question I've ever been asked in my life, not just on the pod.
I'm going to ask you to.
I can't answer.
I need an answer, and I need a why.
I can't. I might be able to answer, but I definitely can't give a why because I just if neither.
Want me to go first?
Yeah, absolutely. Go first.
All right. Teacher, call me. All right. I want the Mets to make the playoffs.
Okay.
I want to play the Mets in the NLDS, and I want to crush their hopes and dreams. We've done it to the Braves 2 years in a row. It wouldn't be as fun with their depleted team. So yeah, I want to lay it on the Mets.
Yeah. Fine. I guess
it's a good rivalry that needs a revival.
I guess I'm not enthusiastic about it, but it's fine. I don't know what team we match up better against, so I guess technically I'd rather face the Mets because I guess the Braves have Chris Sale, and Chris Sale's the best pitcher. And, you'd face Sale twice in a series if it's best of 5 series. So,
yeah, but then there's also it's funny. I was thinking about that same exact point when I was.
I mean, who are they going to throw? Who are the Mets going to throw out in Game 1? I don't care about seeing Luis Severino twice.
It would probably be like Quintana.
Oh, even better. Yeah, bring it.
But there's part of me that thinks that with the way the Phillies happen to be, we could probably hit Chris Sale better than we hit Quintana.
That's a good point. Yeah, that Mets series that sounds like it kind of sounds like a trap, doesn't it? That was my first thought.
A trap, but I still want it.
All right, can we move on? Are you done with your stupid question?
Dude, you just can't. It's not that big of a question.
Moving on. The Phillies.
Ridiculous.
Back to the Phillies.
This guy's soft.
Biggest reason for optimism going into the playoffs and biggest reason for concern with this Phillies team. Go.
Biggest reason for concern is we're still striking out a lot. Our right-handed hitters struggle against tough righties with sliders. I think we see teams, Padres, D-backs, Mets, everyone, I mean, except for the Braves, who don't really have a stellar rotation of nasty right-handed pitching. I think every other team in there has some good righties that we should fear. That's a cause for concern.
Okay, so real quick. So cause for concern is the reasons we lost last year you think can happen again. They've not been fixed. That's what that means, right? Okay. Reasons for optimism. Why won't that happen exactly is kind of what I'm asking.
Oh, okay, my bad. Yeah.
No, you're right. Go whatever way you were going to go. I shouldn't. That was confusing.
Yeah. I guess why I don't think that will happen is because we saw growth from a lot of our right-handed hitters this year. Specifically Bohm. I think it was a huge year for him. Turner really ended the year well. I feel better this year. Well, actually, you know what? I think that's still a cause for concern. I don't think I can make my cause for concern a sign of optimism. That could still happen, but what I do feel better about is the depth of our lineup and our pitching. Our pitching in general, I think we're deeper. The rotation, obviously, we all know we only need 4 starters in the playoffs, but the bullpen's better than it was last year.
Okay, so my reasons for optimism, I have 2 big reasons for why this team can get over the hump versus last year. Christopher Sanchez is a legitimate big league pitcher at this point. He's not a maybe he can start game 4 type of guy anymore. He's a legitimate pitcher that gives us 4 options that you feel good about. Ultimately, there's no questions anymore with the starting rotation, and that's huge. We picked up a guy who can give the bullpen some time off. Ultimately, in game 4 of last year against the D-backs, he had a very short leash, and you have to dip into the bullpen earlier, and that kind of brings me to our next point. I feel good about the 9th inning. We haven't talked about him enough. Carlos Estevez is very good, and I feel very comfortable when he's out there. Craig Kimbrell, shout out to the Orioles for DFAing him in September. That's savage. But they saw what happened last year, and they saw how this year's going, and he was not a good option for a playoff team in the postseason. I think Estevez is a much better option, like substantially better. Between him in the 9th and Alvarado looking better, he's a little sharper now later into the season. Hoffman's still Hoffman. I think that you get us to the 6th inning.
Kirk's been great.
You get us to the 6th inning. I mean, Ruiz has been amazing as well. Strom, didn't even mention Strom. You get us to the 5th, 6th inning now, and that game gets a lot shorter. I don't think those games that Kimbrell gave away in Arizona last year are going to happen this year. I trust Estevez a lot, and I trust I think Topper has a better idea of how to use this bullpen. It was always kind of weird last year with Kimbrell being like a good pitcher, but a shaky closer, and he wasn't exactly sure where to use everybody. And Alvarado was always like, oh, do we save him? Do we use him? The hierarchy is clear. The hierarchy is clear this year. Topper has some experience in the postseason, losing and winning. I think he kind of knows what he has to do this time. And it's the best bullpen in the playoffs.
100%. And I think the way you have to look at it is last year Craig Kimbrell was not the best 9th inning option. And we kind of had to attack. We had some good options for sure. I'm not discounting that. But we had to attack teams with the same sequence of pitchers every night. Now we have like 5 guys that we feel really good about. And if we get to the 6th inning, and then we have to pitch 3 pitchers for 3 straight games, we could do a different sequence of those guys just to kind of keep, say, like a Mets team off balance. So they're not seeing Alvarado every night. They see Strom and they see Kirkring. Like it can be a different mix, which I just don't think we had last year.
Yeah, and another wild card is Spencer Turnbull, who is supposed to be able to pitch in the playoffs. I don't know how rusty he's going to be, but if you get a bad start out of somebody, that's some length. We don't have to rely on. I don't even remember who was in the bullpen last year. I guess it would have been Taijuan Walker as a long man, right?
Yeah.
Taijuan Walker will not be on the roster. That's a strength in its own right. There's no.
Do we know that?
There's no. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. You reported first from Josh on the Double Switch podcast. Taijuan did not make the playoff roster. No weak links in the pitching staff. That's a game changer. I've seen teams pitch their way to World Series victories, and I think this team's good enough to do it. Reasons for concern. I am a little concerned about the break. I've never experienced it as a fan and as a team. I've just seen teams take a nice little 5-day break and come out really flat. And this team's never done it. They get to October and they go all the way. Just got to find a way to keep that intensity up. I think that they can do it, but there's plenty of examples of really good teams not doing it. So it's in the back of my mind. And yeah, like you said, we just have a skill set of players that have very big holes that we've mentioned a bajillion times. And there are some. You get to this time in the season, and there's some dudes in these playoffs. There's some big swing and miss relievers. The swing and miss
Mhm.
in our lineup's always going to be there. I think the bottom of our lineup is still a little weak. If you're talking about declining JT, Bryson Stott took a huge step back. Rojas, I give him credit for improving, but he's still not. You don't feel great
Yeah, I
about him
think
going up
the
there.
benefit of it with the bottom of the lineup right now is that the guys in the bottom lineup are on like little hot streaks right now.
Boston Hayes was the last name I was going to say there. Yeah, I'd feel better if those guys had good seasons and they're coming into the playoffs. But yeah, they're hitting well. It's I'm kind of nitpicking here. Ultimately, I feel very good about where we're at, and it's we're in good shape. It's a well designed team for what we're about to try to do.
Yeah, man, I'm excited. I mean, I don't have any of that nervousness that's going around. I know I hear it on the radio. People are nervous. I hear people are even nitpicking Estevez that he makes them too nervous in the ninth. I'm like, why? Come on,
Like,
now.
were you watching last year? Oh my god!
Yeah, come on, just trust his stuff and go look at our bullpen from last year. It's gonna be a good October. I'm excited. Oh, I do have a story for the folks. Probably I think it was the fourth time this season I brought a new person or group of people to the Phillies game, planned ahead, and all four times Taiwan Walker pitched.
Ugh. Ugh.
How about
That's
that luck?
incredibly unfortunate.
Yeah, so now everyone that I've tried to introduce to the Phillies believes that Taiwan Walker speaks for the level of team we are. Just great.
Yeah, I feel bad for them. It
Me
got to the
too.
point where I didn't even watch Taiwan starts. I'm sorry. I just didn't see a point. I
Yeah,
felt
hey,
bad. I
I
felt
wouldn't have
really
bought the
bad, but
tickets. I just bought them in advance.
yeah. Probably won't see him pitch again this season. So maybe mop up
Yep.
duty this weekend in Washington, but I think that might be it. I don't know if
Wow.
we're going to see him. There's a chance we don't see him pitch again on the Phillies. It's not a high chance, but there's a chance,
Yeah, it kind of just feels like he would do better on a team below 500.
On a team below 500, and he really badly needs a change of scenery.
Yeah.
He can't fix himself under the microscope of Philadelphia.
No,
It is
that would
a
probably be the last
recipe for
place ever.
disaster. Yeah. We'll have a deeper conversation about Taiwan come November and December, but
Yeah. We don't have to worry about that right now.
playoffs are around the corner. It's interesting because I guess we could have done this next week because they're not going to play next week. When does the NLDS start? I don't even know.
NLDS would be Saturday.
Okay, so we got a full
Game
week.
1 Saturday, the 5th. Game 2 would be Sunday the 6th.
Yep.
And I think it goes right into Monday. I don't think there's a day off there.
I'm sure the bank is going to be a lot of fun, and we might be there for all we know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, got anything else? I think that should kind of do it on our. I don't even know what this is. It's not preview because we don't know what's going to happen. But yeah, we're here. Anything
we're
else?
here, and now we'll hop back on probably next Friday before the NLDS. Give you guys a real preview. We'll know what the NLDS roster's like. We'll know who we're playing. A lot's going to happen in the next 7 days. So see you guys soon, and go Phils.
Real quick, can you believe how fast that season went by?
That was
Dude,
incredible.
we were just in Clearwater. And now it's all done. Crazy.
And now we're not done. We're not done yet. We've just started.
It's true. It does fly by. But it was a good season, and I'm looking forward to things to come. As always, thank you guys for listening, and we will talk to you soon.